Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Cryptid Cocktail Party, a show where we have a few drinks, share a few laughs, take a dive into the unknown. I'm your host Dave, joined as always by the wonderfully bearded, beautifully handsome faced, just exuding raw sexual energy, Sarge the Destroyer. What's going on, bud?
Oh, hello.
Hey.
Hello. That was a very romantic introduction. I appreciate it.
I should probably start writing down these introductions because I panic and then I just stumble across all my work. None of them make sense, but it is what it is.
Now I want to introduce Sarge. He probably smells like gun oil.
Yeah. Apparently has a fucking sweet ass, big beard.
Yeah.
I just feel safe in his arms. All the ladies love him and all the men want to be him. I think. Yeah. Probably.
Sometimes. Most of the time.
What's going on, bud? How you doing?
I'm good. I just did some stand-up down in Providence. That was a blast.
Hell yeah, bud.
Place called the Jake Speakeasy. It was right next to Ladder 133 in Providence, which is a great bar, by the way. I can't say enough good things about it. They had Narragansett, the Tall Boys, which I was very happy about. I've been to Ladder 133 a couple of times before, most recently for my buddy's bachelor party. It was still many years ago, but yeah, it was a great show, great crowd. Made some friends. Shout out to Barry. Hopefully we're going to do some writing and, put some jokes together.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, overall, it was a good time. I got stuck in the world's worst fucking traffic. There was a country music concert for Zach Bryant.
Who the fuck is Zach?
He was doing
who the fuck is Zach Bryant?
I don't know, dude. It's that garbage fucking arena country. You know what I'm talking about? Like
it's
I know a lot of people.
No, this is what it is. It's post 9/11 country. Is what you're about to say. Yeah,
it's the worst country.
Because country before 9/11 was all like, fuck the government. I'm gonna.
Right.
I'm not gonna say all of it was outlaw country, but they weren't bootlicking fucking red solo cup motherfuckers.
Yeah, God, they're the worst, man. And then the worst part is I already hate traffic. As an Iraq War veteran, there are a few things that set me off more than the roads because I did a lot of driving in Iraq. I didn't do the driving. My driver did the driving. I had a gun in the turret, and that made me feel good because I could shoot things. But I didn't like being on the road, and I hate being on the roads here in America because I can't throw a frozen water bottle at you when you do something stupid.
No, but you can't shoot them. So, I mean, you're in America.
I can't because Massachusetts has really strict laws and I don't have a gun anyway.
Or do you mean morally?
I want one.
I feel like it's more of a moral.
Yeah, morally I can. Morally, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Legally, it's a problem.
Oh, gotcha.
But... So I already hate traffic.
We do not advocate murdering people during road rage incidents.
Don't kill anyone, please. It's not worth your time and effort. So I already hate country music. I already hate traffic, but I hate country music more than I hate traffic. And so being stuck in traffic, going down to Providence for a country music concert, I was incensed. I felt steam coming out of my ears. And so while I'm stuck in traffic, I look up what this shit show is. And it's Zach Bryant's quitting time.
Oh.
Quitting time.
Okay, first
I'm trying to figure out.
I was like, Quentin Tim? Who the fuck is Quentin Tim? Is that the opening?
No, I just kept saying that. To calm myself down. But I was also mad because it's like, you're brand new. You just started country music. Why is it quitting time? Are you retiring, you fucking idiot?
I just love that you do bits to yourself to keep yourself from going on a murderous rampage.
If I didn't laugh, someone else would be crying. I was furious about this whole thing, absurdly angry, but I got there in time. I did my set. My buddy Dave from TikTok set everything up. He got me in with the crowd, and it was just fun overall. And then afterwards, me and some of the greatest people in the world went into Ladder 133, and we had a couple of beers and hung out with the bartender, who was very nice to me.
Are they usually rude to you?
Yeah, usually. I mean, it is New England.
That's fair. Ordering a beer at a New England bar is like ordering an egg sandwich at any deli in New York. It's like, hurry up! What do you want? There's fucking people behind you. Fucking, what do you know? What? I'm not even gonna take your order. You're gonna get what you get.
Hurry up!
Yeah,
hurry up! There was nobody in there, and she's still like moving along.
Yeah, we got shit to do, bud. Oh shit. Well, speaking of going to bars and stuff, I think it's time that we should mention something huge for the show. We got a sponsor.
Huge.
We got a sponsor, Sarge.
Fuck yeah, we do.
We are sponsored currently now by Narragansett Lager. Thank you so much to Cam for hooking us up with that, and Wes, my contact in Philly, for setting this all up. I'm beyond stoked. Thank you so much. Narragansett has been a big part of my life, especially going to like dirty punk shows in New England basements. It's always like a staple there. I
mean, my dad has been drinking Narragansett since he was young.
Yeah.
Because Narragansett has been around for 100 years. So when you told me, I was like, no way. No way that they think us two shaved apes, barely shaved, are going to be good enough for this.
I'm going to be honest. Honestly, thought it was a scam when I first got that message.
Well, yeah. I mean, how many times have I get emails all the time offering to sponsor a podcast I haven't even recorded anymore.
Yeah.
Like I haven't done episodes of like this one show that I used to be on 10 years ago. I'm still getting offers for sponsors, but it's like all nonsense. So
yeah,
when you said they wanted to sponsor us, I was like, no way.
Yeah. Well, before I even responded to Cam from Narragansett, I think I sent you the screenshot being like, so this fucking happened. And I was like, I haven't responded yet. I don't even know what to say. And you're like, fucking figure it out.
We'll do it. Why not? So yeah, I'm pumped. That's so awesome. Cause like the best part I think about Narragansett is like, when you go up to, there's this place up in New Hampshire called Zeb's General Store in North Conway.
Yeah. I know Zeb's.
You could literally buy tin signs of Narragansett beer.
Yeah.
And you could get like tin signs where it's like the old timey 1940s tin signs of like Narragansett beer and the Boston Red Sox. It's just so freaking cool. I am absolutely pumped.
I did specifically tell Cam, I was like, listen, I'll agree to this. Whatever your terms are, I don't care. I'll agree to it. The only thing I want is one of those big tin signs.
Yep.
and he said, not a problem.
I'm definitely going to put it up. I cannot wait.
Yeah.
I'm so stoked. Because also the other thing is Narragansett is so consistently good too. Like it's just good beer.
Yeah. It's I did find out that apparently they went out of business for like a hot minute.
Yeah.
And then they came back. I didn't know that. I feel like I've seen it my entire life. I don't remember it ever going away. You know what I mean?
Well, they think they went out of business twice because they probably weren't doing much during the Prohibition days.
Whatever. It's fine. I mean,
but yeah, just in general, it's an awesome thing, and I think it suits us very well. Two dirt necks from New England.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I'm pumped. Yeah. It's gonna be so cool.
So thank you, Narragansett, for sponsoring the show. Couldn't be more stoked. I mean, I've been drinking this shit dirt while recording, even before this even.
I know. The minute you held up the Narragansett can the first time we recorded, I was like, all right, he gets it.
Yeah. You could take the boy out of New England, but you can't take the New England out of the boy.
Frankly, I was shocked you could get it in Pennsylvania.
Well, there's only one store that I can get it at, and it just so happens to be. Well, I mean, there's plenty of stores, but if you know anything about Philly, it's a grid system, so every street has a stop sign, every cross street. So there's probably stores like a half mile from my house. It takes me 15 minutes to get there.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
But luckily the grocery store that's literally across the street from my house carries 6 packs of the tall boys, and they're like $7. So I'm like, why not?
You can't go wrong.
Exactly.
It tastes better than PBR. That's what I care about.
Oh, for sure. All right, Sarge. We got an episode to go over today. And I wanted to do something shark themed for this episode, just as a homage to Narragansett being in Jaws, Crush It Like Quint. But after doing a bunch of research and like trying to formulate an episode around, because I was going to do the black demon shark, but like it got into weird megalodon territory, and I was like, I'm not going to do.
You don't need to do an episode about dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Not yet.
No. Well, I mean, I'm sure we'll run out of cryptids, and eventually 2 years from now, we'll have to be doing.
It's just me holding up a Lego T-Rex.
Yeah. This show's gonna get weird when we run out of shit to talk about. Eventually, it'll just be aliens and ghosts because we'll run out of stuff to talk about. But today, Sarge, we're going to be headed to Antarctica, also known as the White Continent, which, in my opinion, would be more fitting a name for like Europe. But
or America and Canada.
Yeah, but that's neither here nor there.
1950s-ish. But yeah.
It's the fifth largest and the least populated continent on Earth, and for good reason. It's cold as fuck. The average temperature being negative 71 degrees Fahrenheit on the interior. The coldest recorded temperature on Earth was recorded there at negative 128, with the coastal regions being not wildly that much warmer, but can sometimes get to like 50-ish in the summer sometimes.
Yep.
And well, Antarctica does hold 70.
And
what do you got?
And sorry to interrupt, but it allegedly doesn't exist according to flat earthers.
Fuck yeah, I know. We're not going to.
I got a whole thing. I got a whole thing, man.
We're not going to go into.
Throw my tinfoil hat. We could just talk about it for days.
We're not going to do that. I think you handled that pretty well on your. Save that for Citizens Guide, bro. All right. I mean, we'll eventually cover Flat Earth on here.
Save your conspiracy theory nonsense for a different podcast. Just to be clear, I believe it exists.
Flat Earth?
I think that no. Antarctica. I believe it is a continent. It's not an ice wall. Because I am not terribly stupid.
Just not in this one aspect.
Fundamental brain damage.
No.
So I don't believe the Earth is flat. I just want to clarify that because, frankly, if I was listening to a podcast and somebody was like, "Oh, I think the Earth is flat," I'd be like, "I think you should see a doctor because your brain doesn't work." So I just want to make sure we don't lose any fans because people think I'm dumb, and I'm not dumb. I am dumb, but I'm not flat Earth dumb.
No, well, Antarctica does hold 70% of the Earth's fresh water. It's all frozen. This place. It's just a cold, desolate, and harsh place. But yet,
I mean, it's frozen now. It won't be much longer, but for the moment.
But people still fucking go there, like tourists and shit, which I didn't think was allowed.
I go in a heartbeat.
It turns out you're allowed to just go there. You have to like sign because technically no one owns Antarctica. You have to like hire a guide and shit like that. But apparently there's a bunch of shit to do there.
Allegedly.
You can kayak with whales. You can go scuba diving.
Yeah.
You can visit research facilities. You can even visit Deception Island, which is just the top of an active volcano and littered with whale skeletons and oil drums from the old processing plants used during the height of whaling in the mid-1900s.
And you'll probably find a couple of human skeletons because we really liked to try and explore it. But this was back when people were wearing like wool underwear.
Yeah. But if that's not metal enough, you can always go visit Blood Falls, which is a 5-story blood red waterfall spilling over pure white snow, like it's something out of a David Lynch movie. But these fun / macabre tourist destinations aren't what we're here to discuss, obviously, because if you know anything about this show, it's never anything fun like that. We're going to be talking about something much more terrifying than just blood waterfalls. We're going to be talking this week about Organism 46-B, the name given to a creature that I can only describe as a real-life eldritch god that was quote-unquote discovered 2 miles underneath the Arctic ice in a subglacial lake known as Lake Vostok, named after the Russian research facility located atop of it. Are you familiar with Organism 46-B? If you say yes, I'm going to fucking kill myself. Don't.
Is this like that Stephen King novel, The Thing? Is this like the inspiration for The Thing? Like, is Kurt Russell gonna appear in this?
No, it's not. It's not alien. It's nothing like that. I mean, it's gonna get pretty thingish, I guess. We'll get into it. So, Vostok Station was established on December 16th, 1957. Whoa, excuse me.
Narragansett. It burps clean.
True, there was no foam, no froth. One of the cleanest burps I've ever had. Now, Vostok Station was established on December 16th, 1957, and is one of the most isolated established research stations on the continent and hosts 30 scientists in the summer and about 15 in the winter. They're like pretty much there just to do like a lot of ice core drilling, and they study changes in the Earth's magnetosphere, among other things. But like ice core drilling seemed to be like their thing. Once it was discovered that this station was situated upon a body of liquid water under the ice in 1974, they were like, fuck it. We're reaching that lake. And this is like like a bunch of people were like, maybe you shouldn't because it hasn't seen light or air for millions of years. Drilling into it might fuck up a bunch of shit, but they're like, nah, dude, we're going to do it. And then
they're like, psh, you're out of your mind. Yeah. I think everybody needs prehistoric bacteria to be alive again.
Yeah. So after almost 30 years of just drilling like they're fucking Bruce Willis in Armageddon, they finally broke through the ice and reached the lake on February 5th, 2012. Now, there isn't a specific date for when these scientists had their fateful encounter with Organism 46b, but news of it broke on November 30th, 2016, so it's safe to assume it happened sometime in that like 4-year span. Obviously, it'd be weird if it happened before and or after.
That'd be crazy. That'd be insane.
So the story goes that Dr. Anton Padalka, a defecting Russian scientist, along with the remaining colleagues who were part of the 8-man team tasked with researching the lake that mysteriously went missing for 5 days, told authorities in Geneva, Switzerland. First off, if it's in Geneva and you're telling someone about something, never good.
It's a war crime.
Yeah.
It's a war crime. Yeah. You've committed a war crime.
About a bizarre and wildly deadly life form that they had found in the lake dubbed Organism 46-B, a terrifying and highly intelligent octopus-like creature that had tragically taken the lives of 3 of the team members. And all this information comes from the testimony given by Anton to the Swiss government, so it's kind of like a transcript kind of thing. It's the only like source of information that we have. You look upset. You don't look like you're stoked on this.
As it's one of my best friends in the world often says, you a joke in my ass right now.
I don't know.
How is this possible?
So, according to Badalka, the Russian government didn't want him disclosing this information to the public, with President Putin claiming, quote, nothing of scientific interest, end quote, had been found. But Anton was like, fuck that, and told the Swiss, quote, the discovery of such unusual life in Lake Vostok was the most important scientific breakthrough in decades, but we were ordered not to divulge it because Mr. Putin's sinister schemes, end quote. So
we're talking about an octopus-like creature.
Octopus-like creature.
In
very H.P.
freshwater. In freshwater.
Sure. I mean, it's been
it's got to be freshwater, right? Because it's under Antarctica.
I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. I mean, it could be like hasn't seen. It evolved millions of years under ice in unfrozen water. So I mean, the idea of that happening isn't that weird.
I just have so many questions.
Well, good thing we're
keep
only
going. Keep going. I interrupted you.
Maybe some of them will fucking be answered.
My brain is much like Antarctica, completely frozen right now.
Okay, so what actually?
Thaw me out.
So what happened? Like, what actually happened?
Thaw me out,
Daddy.
men?
Why was there radio silence from the team for almost 5 days? And how exactly did these men, the 3 men, die? Well, Anton went on to tell the Swiss authorities that just as the men neared the lake, all communications with the outside world mysteriously just like stopped. He said, quote, we encountered Organism 46b on day 1. We were conducting a preliminary dive in our low temperature wetsuits. It disabled our radio, which we later learned to our alarm was intentional, end quote. Now, under the, all right, real quick. So before we go further, I need to describe the layout of the land. So there was a diagram of how this like ice underwater lake works. So there's the ice shelf is like 2 miles thick. They drilled down. They drilled down into it. There is a little pocket of air, and then the water. And there are little banks. Like so, like when they drilled down, they were able to get like onto a bank, and they have like a camp set up down there. I didn't write any of that down. I probably should have. So
they went 2 miles down.
Yeah,
they went down there. They didn't, because this is like modern times. Like we have drones. I just feel like if I was to go to a place that hasn't been seen in God knows how long, like
I'm sure they sent cameras around stuff first. Like, I mean,
yeah, but like the camera, you're not going to tell if the camera got smallpox. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know what's down there. You don't know what kind of weird fucking prehistoric diseases are in this hole in the ground?
They're gonna find out.
Yeah, they found out the hard way.
Yeah, so
that is like the Russian way of doing things. You're like, man, it's dangerous, so let's just kill a bunch of guys and see if it works.
Yeah, so now under the ice and completely helpless, the team could do nothing but simply try and survive as like this creature pretty much just starts picking them off one by one, not unlike like a slasher, like in a horror movie.
We need to make this a horror movie. We have to make this a horror movie. Patreon goal. Make this a horror movie.
Now remember, it's dark as hell down there with nothing but the light from the hole leading to the lake, and then like flashlights and lamps that were brought down with the divers to like set up their camp and stuff. Now, all they could tell about this creature is that it was massive. It's like 33 feet in length and having 14 arms, which is too many arms. It's too big, too many legs. I don't know.
Are they sure there wasn't just 2 octopi down there?
We're gonna get to that, but
okay. Oh, okay.
So yeah, they said it's roughly 33 feet in length. It had 14, maybe 16 arms. Either way, it's bad. I don't know.
Arms.
I don't know what color the creature is, but what they said is that it had
lifeless eyes, black eyes like a doll's eyes.
So it's basically
For
a
that
massive
price, I'll get you the head, the tail, the whole goddamn thing.
So it's basically a massive octopus that has evolved under ice for millions of years and became just a fucking straight up like Lovecraftian nightmare. Now,
that is fucking amazing.
Even though it has more legs than it knows what to do with, it still hunts like an octopus, kind of. Octopi will normally grab its prey. Sometimes it injects it with some sort of paralyzing agent. Sometimes it just squeezes the hell out of them, and then they just end up eating it with like its beak type mouth.
I was not aware that octopi. Is it octopi or octopuses?
I think it's octopi.
I hope so, because octopuses just sounds really sexual.
It's not good. It's not ideal.
So everything that I know about, my favorite thing about octopus is that like underwater they like befriend fish and they hunt with fish, and if the fish fucks up they just smack it, and that is the most relatable thing in the world to me.
It was like having a helper, like if your kid's helping you fix the car and he doesn't hold the flashlight in the right place, you just fucking whack him real quick and then
backhand him.
They'll never hold the flashlight wrong again.
Honestly, my son would probably punch me so hard in the testicles if I did that I wouldn't be able to breathe for a week. The young one is too fast. I'd never catch him. But the middle one is a stout fucking brick of a child. And he has the kind of strength that is just unnatural for a boy his age.
Reserved.
And I'm pretty sure if he backhanded me in the berries, I wouldn't have him anymore. They'd just erupt.
Just turn to dust immediately.
Yeah, he doesn't know this and he doesn't listen to this podcast, but I'm terrified of his strength.
He got the strength of like a fucking full grown like chimpanzee. They'll just fucking rip your arms off if you need to.
It just beat me with my own arms. It's terrifying.
But yeah, some octopus obviously are like poisonous. Clearly, there are a bunch.
I had no idea that they did that.
So like they'll like paralyze and or just like grab it with their tentacle legs and fucking eat the shit out of it. But anyways, Organism 46-B, he likes to do things a little bit different. According to Dr. Podlaka, Organism 46-B is, quote, able to paralyze prey at a distance of up to 150 feet by releasing its venom into the water from an organ similar to its ink sac. Tragically, my colleague and lifelong friend, Dr. Vindagradov, was killed this way. He was treading water wearing a blissful smile as the organism approached him. We watched helplessly as it used its arms to tear off his head and then pop the remains into his mouth. End quote.
All right.
So
I'm calling bullshit.
Sarge, just let me get through the story.
No.
Suspense.
You cannot swim in that water. It's fucking freezing down there.
They have sweatsuits on.
Bro.
Sarge, what did I say before we recorded? You can blame TikTok for this. So anyway, it hunts kind of like an octopus, but that's not the only thing that this creature can do that's similar. It can also camouflage. Tons of cephalopods have the ability. They can change color and texture to blend into the surrounding environments. They can look like coral, saying whatever they want, they can just fucking do it. Well,
yeah.
Some can even change shape to look kind of like other animals, like sea snakes or stingrays. Well, Organism 46-B takes this ability and just makes it so much fucking worse. The good doctor told the Swiss that it had shaped itself into the form of a human diver, and that, quote, "We thought it was one of my colleagues swimming towards us in scuba gear. By the time the closest scientists realized what it had grabbed him and tore him to bits," end quote. But wait, Sarge, hold on. Before you say anything, there's more. So, you know how like octopus tentacles are basically their own brains? Like if you chop off a limb, it'll still move and shit and act.
Yeah, they have like an independent. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Well, again, 46-B can do that, but more horrifying. Quote, "After our sole female researcher chopped one of the arms off with an ice axe, the severed limb yanked the weapon out of her hands. That night, the arm slithered onto the icy bank where we were sleeping and strangled her." So
I thought, honestly, not exactly the direction I thought this was going. I thought it was going to be like, no, I thought it was going to be a far more Japanese approach. So I got nervous. I'm actually more relieved that she was killed by it. Knowing what the Japanese have done with tentacles in the past.
No, somehow these fucking nerds were able to outsmart the creature and actually were able to capture it in a tank. Now, after returning to the surface, 3 people lighter and 1 Leviathan fucking heavier, they assumed they were going to be recognized as heroes in the scientific and international community. But the director of the project ordered the hole be plugged and told the world that they didn't find anything down there. And in fact, we didn't even send anyone down there at all. With the head of the station saying, quote, "There's nothing much down there, I can assure you," end quote. And that the plugging of the hole was just like standard routine, pretty much. Now, Dr. Badalka fled Russia in July of that year after he discovered that Russia was planning on putting the creature into military use, stating, quote, "Some species of octopus lay 200,000 eggs. Imagine if they were deposited in reservoirs and or lakes," end quote. Now, the Russian Bureau of Truthful Information, which I found out is kind of a real thing. That's a real thing.
The Russian Bureau of Truthful Information.
Like, first of all, don't ever trust anything coming from a place called
Everything we say is true, comrade. Everything is true.
He responded to the whistleblower's claim saying, quote, "It sounds like something you might see on one of your science fiction TV channels. The Cold War is over, my friends. If our scientists made a discovery of such magnitude, do you seriously doubt we would share it with the world?" End quote. Yeah. Obviously, I don't believe that for a second.
As someone who grew up in the 80s, there is absolutely no way I would trust a Russian government official to tell me anything truthful.
Yeah, to this day, I still don't.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, like to this day, yeah. When I think of like Russian information, I'm reminded of that guy during the Iraq War invasion when he's like, "There's no tanks." And then there's like 8 tanks in the background driving them. "The Americans aren't here." There's like an American guy like, "Excuse me, I got to just put up this flag." I don't believe it.
Well,
I want it to be real. I absolutely 100% want it to be real. But you know what ruined it for me? When they went swimming.
All right. So, Sarge, this whole episode, I will say, has been a test of media literacy. So this is all bullshit through and through.
Of course it is.
So
it's insane.
So like I said, I saw this on TikTok and went down a rabbit hole and was like 1,000% invested. People truly believe the stories. I watched thousands of, maybe not thousands, but a bunch of videos on this. I even went to like blogs. I for sure believe that like if Russia found something like this, like they for sure wouldn't tell anyone, and there would be
that
some
is
sort
the
of, like,
most believable part of this whole story.
Yeah, but once I reached the bottom of the well, I learned that this is actually a satirical article written by science fiction author C. Michael Forsyth, who also writes for Weekly World News. Now,
I love it. I love it.
Now, the reason I think people saw this quote unquote article and believed it to be true is because it took me for fucking ever to find the original source of this fucking story.
That's fair. That's fair.
When you look this thing up, it just brings you to different blogs talking about it, YouTube videos, TikToks, none of which give you the source of it. You can clearly tell they're getting it from just like another source that regurgitated the information. But once I found it, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, it explicitly states that it's satire, which funnily enough, those other blogs failed to mention. And I wanted so I wanted to cover it because just like kind of like Slenderman or like any of those other like internet things like this has kind of become like it's gone outside the internet, if that makes sense. Like it's not like it's no longer contained to just like the funny blogs and memes and stuff like that. Like like I said, I want it to be more like how do I word this? Like if you don't take the time to do your research or provide sources, shit like this slips through, and like gullible people or impressionable people will believe it, and it kind of murks the waters of actual quote unquote actual cryptids. You know what I mean? And like, things like this pass through all the time, especially on TikTok, where like people on like they'll just fucking post anything on there, and then someone will see that, they'll do their own video, and just all this. Like I said, I went through a whole rabbit hole, and I was 100% convinced. Like I didn't think it was like real per se, but like there was shit in there that like I was like, fuck it, this could be. But then I found the article.
I mean, honestly, man, like the thing that kills me the most is that I am so susceptible to crazy stuff because I want it to be real, you know? Like you have no idea how much joy it would bring me if somebody had actually found Bigfoot.
Dude, you know, but I will say this. You fucking called this 8 minutes in. You knew I think that goes to say, like I said, like I know like this is a case of media literacy. Like if things get blown around, and no one ever looks for the source of the information it came from. It took me forever to find it. It made it harder because people just kept sharing the story, and like no one's crediting the actual source of where it came from. It just keeps spreading and spreading. It took me forever to find where it came from. And I think, not to get political, but like this shit, like this is just a cryptid story. It doesn't matter in the greater context of things. But I think media literacy is the thing that we as a society have just fucking just gave up on. Like
gone.
It's gone. And so, and the fact that it's Russian makes it even funnier because
it's the thing. Like that's the thing that the only thing that added legitimacy to this whole thing is that like Russia was being the bad guy. Yeah. It was like, Russia, you're terrible. And Russia's like, no, I'm not terrible. Here, smell this rag.
Yeah. Like
it's just, I fully believe that people believe this because it's got all the elements. Mm-hmm. A government agency that's hiding the truth, a mysterious place like Antarctica, the fact that they called it Organism, whatever the fuck they called it, all of that stuff just draws people in. And one of the things that I try to impart on my kids, to the point where they probably hate me, and this is probably why they have all figured out that the Santa Claus isn't real, is because I taught them to be skeptical.
Yeah.
Because when I was little, I believed everything. I thought everything was like a conspiracy and that, all the shit was real. And it was only that like feeling of when I found out it wasn't real that like, oh my God, I'm such a moron for even believing this. But the thing is, like, you're not a moron for believing this stuff because we want there to be wonder and like amazing shit in the world.
Yeah, but you had the ability, just like me, like, because I remember when I was a kid, like I would watch, like, I remember the way I got introduced to, like, I didn't even know it was him when it happened, but I watched Alex Jones's documentary about going into Bohemian Grove.
Oh, Bohemian Grove,
yeah. And that was fucking what, 2001? Like,
man.
Like, and like later to find out that like it was all faked, none of it was real. Like,
yep,
like. But you want that wonder, like, but like I get it.
It's comforting. It's comforting because when something bad happens, it's much more comforting to think someone was in control.
But the thing is,
and
that
someone caused it. Yeah, go ahead.
both of us realized once we got like an inkling of truth behind the story that we were finally like, oh, maybe I should look into this. And we do. And then we realize, oh, it's all nonsense. Like there's a difference between us and someone who just believes the story that's being told, and then when provided with facts against it, are just like, well, no, you're just part of the plot to keep. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Absolutely,
like, and
absolutely.
I feel like this is one of those things because I've seen people, like I said, TikTok videos, comments are like, this has been debunked, and like, oh well, yeah, but that's just Russia trying to, or like, the Russian government or the American government trying to like, put it to rest. But even though this is just a cryptid like thing, and it murks the whole thing about cryptids being real. This is another fake thing. This is just like media literacy for like the smallest thing. Like we need it broader and bigger. Like it's all bad. What were you gonna say? There's a book.
Always read your sources. Always find your sources, and then check the source, and then think, what does this source have to gain?
Yeah.
Because 90% of the time, when you find something that's amazing, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
Like when we had that weird object that was floating through space, and everyone thought it was like an alien spaceship, and it turned out to just be a fucking random rock that happened to get knocked around like a billiard ball in space and just flew through our solar system.
Well, there's also the Black Knight satellite, which I think was just a blanket. Like it was just a blanket that got sucked out of the space station or something like that.
There's a book that I'm reading right now by a guy named Lee McIntyre, and it's called How to Talk to a Science Denier. I was actually just looking it up now because I wanted to make sure I got the name right.
That sounds awful.
And
I don't want to talk to a science denier.
he talks about how when people really believe something, you can't sway them with facts.
No.
And so if somebody already believes something, you have to kind of guide them. And I'm still reading it, so unfortunately I can't give you the fucking Cliff's Notes right now.
Yeah.
But he said that regardless of your political regardless of your political ideology, you are more willing to accept misinformation if it furthers your narrative. And one of the things that I was really lucky to be able to do is when I started going to college, I started really, really checking sources and getting very analytical about a source and where the information came from and what that information actually means. There's also a YouTuber named Ryan Macbeth. I recommend everybody check him out because he's really good at breaking down misinformation and explaining. He actually talked about TikTok, especially. He has this whole thing on how TikTok is basically a cyber weapon.
Yeah, it's not good.
And both sides are using it as a propaganda tool. And so for me, the only way that I keep sane with misinformation is by viewing it as a puzzle that I need to solve. And so when I hear something, I look into it, and sometimes I'm let down. Sometimes I'm disappointed because the misinformation is actually not misinformation. It's a real terrible thing that something I agree with or like is doing, and I have to accept that it's actually happening.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, a great example is the debate. Joe Biden fucking tanked it. And it broke my heart. It was terrible to admit, but I can't lie because then I'm just no better than any of the misinformed people. Donald Trump was aware. Yeah, he was lying his ass off the whole time. Things I knew were a lie he was saying, but Joe Biden tanked the debate. He sucked. It was like it's like he wasn't even there. But the larger point I'm trying to make is that don't trust anything.
Yeah.
Don't trust any information until you can verify it for yourself as far as you possibly can. And you're still going to get taken in. I've been taken in by shit even now. But I want cryptids to be real. And that's why I'm so skeptical. Also, I knew that they couldn't swim in that water because of Deadliest Catch.
What the fuck does that have to do with anything?
Because even with an immersion suit, you won't live very long in freezing cold water.
Well, I mean, they had a bank to sleep on.
You were like, oh, he was just swimming in the water. And I was like, no, he wasn't. He would have died.
No, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
You said he had a wetsuit. And I was like, no way.
They said it was hold on, what did you say it was? It was a cold immersion sweatsuit, wetsuit, something like that. I don't know.
You don't really take leisurely swims in those things, though.
I don't think they were. Nothing about this was leisurely, but also none of it's real. So, anyways, but also they never explained how Organism 46-B somehow cut off their communications.
Yeah, but also the other thing that I was like, when they said that it could shapeshift to look like a scuba diver, I'm like, look, cuttlefish and octopi, octothings are extremely talented, but they're not that good.
True.
Then I'm going to take a look at one guy in a scuba suit and be like, I can do that. Yeah.
But also, yeah, for seeing it for the first time and just perfectly just being like, yeah. But yeah, so
there's only one organism on Earth that can assume a form after looking at it, and that is Meryl Streep. Thank you very much.
Okay, all right, Sarge.
Greatest actress on Earth.
So anyway, so the point of the story is, just don't be a dum-dum. Just,
don't trust anything, man.
Find a source, because a lot of these fucking TikTok pages they're just blatantly not good. But anyway, Sarge. Yeah. If you want to follow Sarge on TikTok, he's blatantly good. You can follow him. Yeah. You can find the link in our episode description. You can also find all of his other socials. You can find our socials at Cryptid Cocktail on Instagram, Cryptid Cocktail Party on TikTok.
Also, buy my coloring book.
Also, buy this man's coloring book. Do it on July 5th specifically.
SargesSupernormal.com. Go to SargesSupernormal.com on July 5th and buy the coloring book, or you can go right now and just check it out and see what it's going to kind of look like. There's some stuff in there. There's some pages. Some of them have to be censored because the internet's a sensitive place. Don't give it to your kids. Probably not a good idea. But color it yourself because you're a grown-up and you can handle the gross, weird things that I say in there. But yeah, get it. SargesSupernormal.com, July 5th. The coloring book goes live. There's word searches and mazes and funny pictures to color. But please get it to calm your soul because we are living in a hellscape.
And also, if you want to get one of these dope-ass fucking pride shirts that Sarge is wearing, if you look at that, what's that? Is it the pride flag with brass knuckles?
Yeah, and I'll show the back as well.
Oh, God. Save a squatch on the bigot. Cryptid Cocktail Party. Hey, that's our shirt.
That is our shirt.
You can find a link to get that shirt in the episode description, or not the episode. Yeah, I'll put it in the episode description. Fuck it. You can also find the link in our Instagram. Percentage of the proceeds go to help support the Trevor Project. And I think with that, Sarge, the episode is over. Again, thank you to Narragansett for sponsoring the show. Couldn't be more stoked. Sarge, do you want to plug anything, or do you want to say goodbye and I love you to the audience?
The truth is out there. I want to believe. Antarctica is a real place, I promise, and I love you.